It's a birthday, shine a light on her. Put a Richie on the wrist, real bright on her.
Woo-wee. Week 2 recap. Doing this with a little bit more pep in my step, and let me be very clear. I'm supposed to be going running. See, got my clothes on to go running. Look, but I'm gonna do this recap real quick. Before I jump into anything, gotta acknowledge Blake for weekly high score. So shout out to Blake, 183.64. Blake goes to 2-0. Blake been saying he's on fire. Sheesh. This proves he's on fire. That boy is 2-0 and got the weekly high score for this week. So shout out to Blake on that one. In regards to the knockout pool, who was out last week for the knockout pool? Hold on, I just gotta take a quick look at this because I have a spreadsheet for everything. You guys should know that. Knockout pool, Chris was out last week. So who is out this week for the knockout pool? Let me see what this looks like here. So the weekly lowest scoring team, the person would have been Chris again. So this is a great example. So Chris was the weekly low score last week. He's the weekly score this week, but he's already been knocked out as of week 1. So it can't be Chris again. So it is going to be any given Sunday. It's Yuji at 121.72. Yuji is out of the knockout pool. So him and Chris are both out of it. So now there's only 10 of us teams left in this knockout pool. Interesting, because I didn't think that's who it was, but nonetheless, with that being said, let's go right into the matchup. Blake going 2-0. It's impressive to see the teams that are going 2-0 in this league so far, and I just want to shout them out really quickly because it was something interesting that I peeped earlier. So you have Blake, you have Lamont, who's a defending champion, you have Theodore, and you also have Larry, who are people who've been rocking with me for years. So interestingly enough, that's the 4 teams that are 2-0. So shout out to them. Going into Blake, in regards to his team, well, let's go to my big bro James. Woo! James, I told you, this league is built differently. I tried to tell you. So James' team scored 130.32, which was impressive, but still took the loss. He had Patrick Mahomes give him 30.02. He had Naheem Hines give him 19. He had Devin Singletary give him 17. Juju gave him 16.4. Tyreek Hill only gave 5.9. TJ Hawkinson did give him 20.6. And that was really it. I mean, on his bench, he does have Big Ben. He also had J.D. McKissick, but nothing else on his bench kind of blew up. Then when you go to Blake, really quickly, he had, of course, Tom Brady, 39.64. He had Nick Chubb, give him 16.8. Cooper Kupp, give him 36.8. Cortland Sutton, give him 24.9. He does have Josh Jacob out. He had Marquise Brown on his bench, give him 23.3. So huge win for Blake to go to 2-0. James falls to 0-2. Looking at Lamont, he goes to 2-0. He beats Yuji, who was the weekly lowest scorer. Yuji falls to 1-1. Lamont goes to 2-0. Looking at Yuji's team, he had Patrick Mahomes give him 25.52. Tyreek Hill gave him 17.4. He had Devontae Smith give him 27.7. And that was it. Everybody else on his team was completely single digits, from Najee Harris, David Singletary, Juju Smith-Schuster. Juju Smith-Schuster. No, it says it's Robbie Anderson, but it's so weird. It's Robbie Anderson, but it says Juju Smith-Schuster, which is weird because that doesn't make any sense. So that's totally wacky, Baducky. That's so weird. ESPN is having some sort of glitch. Oh, there it goes. Now it's showing the right people. Sorry about that. It was still showing James's players. It was the weirdest thing ever. But anyway, looking at Yuji's team, he had Teddy Bridgewater give him 25.52. And then he had CeeDee Lamb give him 17.7. Scary Terry give him 27.7. And then he had Michael Pittman on his bench, and then he had Rondale Moore on his bench. The good thing is Rondale Moore is going to be one of the biggest pickups this week based off how he's produced last week, and he already has him. So shout out to him on that. And then going to Lamont, he had Kyler Murray at 39.1. He had Brandon Cooks at 22.8. Calvin Ridley at 19.3. Mark Andrews 10.7. Kenyon Drake at 10.5. His kick game 22. What a solid way to start the week. And he had nothing else on his bench at all. So shout out to Lamont playing all the right players on his team. Going over my Haitian brother from another mother, man. Come on, Chris. On 2. And Joey D, you and the Jets got a lot in common. And I'm not throwing any shade. I'm about to go work out. This is my Jets workout outfit. Loses to Larry, who was also a Jets fan. Larry just does just enough to get the win here, by the way. I'm quite impressive. But let me look at Chris's team. Chris did have Baker Mayfield give him 19.56. DK Metcalf gave him 11.3. Robert Woods gave him 12. Robin Gronkowski gave him 19, but that was it. Like nothing. Nobody else scored double digits for him at all. Saquon Barkley gave him 8.9. Sony Michel gave him 4.6. Antonio Brown gave him 2.7. Jonnu Smith gave him 6.8. Defense gave him 7. Kicker gave him 4. So nothing at all. On his bench, he did have Josh Allen on his bench. And Mike Williams on his bench. But that was like really it. Moving over to the to Larry. Crazy, man. So Dak gave him 7.6. Antonio Gibson gave him 9.3. Kareem Hunt gave him 6.3. Lavinia Shenault gave him 1.7. Jarvis Landry gave him 1.9. And he still won. He still won. Impressive. Shout outs. On his bench, he does have Tony Pollard with 23 points. And he has Tim Patrick's also with 12.7. So shout out to Larry on the win. Moving on. Boy, man, this dude Dwayne is a chatty catty when his team is winning. But he won 151.62 to Roy's 136. Looking at Roy's situation, Aaron Rodgers gave him 33.4. Dalvin Cook gave him 16.8. Deebo Samuel gave him 16.1. Allen Robinson gave him 10.4. Julio gave him 18.8. His defense gave him 19. He does have Ruggs on the bench with 22.5. He also had Cordell Patterson on the bench with 23.9. So tough loss for Roy. Moving over to seeing the other side. In regards to Dwayne, he had Stafford give him 22.2. Eckler gave him 22.5. He had Travis Kelce give him 23.9. His defense gave him 18. Those 2 pick sixes were huge for him. He has Shelby gave him 17.5. Looking at his bench, he benched James Robinson. Smart ass move by Dwayne. And then he also had Robert Tonyan give him 14.2, and then he had Tyson Williams give 11.3. So huge win for Dwayne. Moving over, Theodore goes to 2-0. He brings Chris in, beats his boy Chris the first week. Then he beats Steven the second week, 153.4 to 125.32. Looking at Steven's team, Justin Herbert, 16.4. Christian McCaffrey, 24.4. Darrell Henderson, 17.2. Keenan Allen, 14.8. Chase Edmonds, 12.5. His kick game, 17. That's solid. Tyler Boyd on his bench gave 14.3, but nothing else really by way of that. Looking at Theodore. 20.18. 21.8. Zeke 17.7. Tyler Lockett 13.8. Justin Jefferson 18.8. T Higgins 16. You had Noah Fant 13.8. -1 by the Giants defense, and his kick game 13. So huge shout outs in regards to, and he had Odell Beckham on the bench and also on the IR, and also Evan Ingram. So huge shout outs to Theodore. My matchup against Ron, which this was like a seesaw battle. So really quickly, I'm at a baby shower, not paying attention to football. Well, I'm paying attention modestly, but I'm not really actively paying attention because I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm only watching leagues that I need to watch. This was the one league that I felt like I needed to really watch because it's the only league that I lost in week 1. I'm in 6 leagues, I think. It's an even number. I think it's 6 leagues. And so this is the only league that I'm watching because I went 5-1 the first week. And I had this in the bag. Like, I was like, oh, this is a wrap. I'm beating them. I get home because I'm stuck in crazy traffic on my way back from Jersey, and I'm like, oh, looking at all my scores, not even wanting to look at this one. And I look at this one, and then like he's projected to whip my ass. And this is while Lamar Jackson is cooking because Derrick Henry had a crazy second half for him with 47.7. Then he had Lamar Jackson give him 34.26. He had Mike Evans give him 24.5. So he runs in my mind, he runs away with this. And now I'm pissed. I'm on this chat with everyone and Dwayne's loving it. And by the way, there was nothing else on his team that went crazy. Those are the three people that went crazy. I then, on Monday Night Football, get the miracle of all miracles. Aaron Jones, he had his defense, he had the Packers defense going, which finished up with 6. I had Aaron Jones going. Aaron Jones finished off with 41.5. He was projected to do 17. So that's what ultimately gets me the win. Looking at my team, I did have Russell give me 27.32. DJ Moore gave me 21.9. Not really else. I did have Marvin Jones on the bench with 17.5. But that was really it. So shout outs to me on the win. Ron, my apologies to you, bro. Go 0-2. Ronnie's Ravens go 0-2. Moving over to next week, I am 1-1. I play against my big bro James, who is 0-2 and is going to look to humiliate me. Any given Sunday, plays against, which I think is UG, goes against Roy, who's 0-2. Then you have Larry, who's 2-0, go against Theodore, who's 2-0. Larry's 2-0, Theodore's 2-0. They go against each other. That should be a good matchup. And then you have Lamont, who's 2-0, going against Dwayne, who's 1-1. You have Ron, who's 0-2, going against Chris, who's 0-2. That should be interesting for its own paradox because one of them needs a win. One of them will come out with a win. Hopefully they don't tie. And then you have Blake, who's 2-0, going against, I believe this is Yuji's team. This is Yuji's team going 1-1. So I made a mistake earlier. Steven is actually going up against Roy. And Steve is 1-1 and Roy is 0-2. So that is the recap for this week. Look forward to hearing all the shit talking on this group chat. And hopefully James doesn't embarrass me next week because that would really suck for James to embarrass me after I talked all that shit about his team just now.
Gaultier dress on the hips, real tight on her. Her man left to get a drink, got right on her. I go to work, bring it down, do the turkulator, spin it round. Got a spot, we can take it uptown. Told her, yeah, baby, we outside now. She heard a rumor that he's